Hey there, Grayson, Gigi, and Leah. So this is Grayson's video lesson for this week, the first of two. Today's is going to focus on music elements, like we usually do on Mondays, going through the musical elements of the pieces, and then what I'll talk about tomorrow, and I'll give you the assignment then, is what I want him to do for his Technique Tuesdays, going through pinky push-ups, things like that. I'll more specifically next time in the next video. So there are basically two things I want to talk about today that I want you to work with Grayson with this week, or when you guys get back from vacation. And these are overarching themes too, so this stuff will work for the foreseeable future, things to practice with him. So the first one is Lightly Row, the B section. So we have Lightly Row here. I'll play the melody, so I'm sure you'll know this one. You've probably heard it a million times. But that B section right there, and then back to A. Right, so there, that's the melody. And so he does a really great job, Grayson, you do a really great job of playing that. Now it's time to add more to it and make it more complex and more fun, because there's more things to play with. So there's the thing we did last time in class, the crescendo. And crescendo, I'm sure you maybe are aware, but just in case you're not, Gigi, since you're new to this whole thing, crescendo is when we slowly get louder and louder, and decrescendo is when we get quieter and quieter. So there's a spot in there in the B section where we have this. This is the B section without a crescendo in it. It's just as is. Right, so there's the B section. What it should be, or what we're striving for, I should say, is making sure that we have a crescendo through that line. Two crescendos, in fact. Crescendo number one. And then should be that in there. So how to get him to do that would be actually doing the hot and cold game like we did last time. What you can do, you guys can take turns, is you can hide a toy somewhere in the room. It can be anything, and you'll hide it, and when he gets closer to it, so the kid will hide the toy, and then you'll go look for it. Then Grayson will sit down, and he'll get his guitar, and you can do this like on one note. Or it could be one of his melodies. It might just be easier just at home to do it just like on one note, or maybe a couple different notes. And as you get closer, so say if I hit it over there and start walking towards it, same way hot and cold works, whenever you played it before, is that as you get closer, oh, you're on top of it, and you're on top of it, and you found it right there, and then you'll see you walk away from that spot. It gets quieter and quieter. And as the kid gets closer, get louder and louder. Now, what happens a lot of times is the kids will kind of forget. So it would help to have like maybe like a third person with Grayson. You can get like anything, like a pair of sticks. Like you can use, like spoons out of the kitchen. It can be anything. You can bang on top of like a bucket or something. Who knows? Be creative with it. And as the person gets closer, you can help remind him that he's supposed to be getting louder and louder. So that's a fun game that you can do to help kind of drive home the fact of what a crescendo decrescendo is. Grayson already kind of knows what it is anyway, because he's a smart kid and he works hard. And so work that game with him. That makes it more fun to practice than doing crescendos and decrescendos. And then once he gets done that game, then he goes around and sits with his guitar and go, okay, let's do a crescendo. It's the what I like to do for that, when we kind of go away from the hot and cold game, once the kid kind of understands what crescendo, decrescendo kind of really are, is you can take a die and just roll the die and go, okay, I want 3 crescendos on this first part right here. So, and you have to do that 5 times. For example, if you roll the die, he gets a 5. You have to do that 5 times, and at the end, he gets some sort of like, I use dragons, you can use whatever you want at home, some sort of reward. or like a game piece or something like that, or he gets to move this piece. Actually, I should say maybe with Grayson, maybe another piece of picture, because he always loves the picture game. So Gigi, if you're watching this, that might be a good way for you to get him to do crescendos. Like every time he does a crescendo correctly in the B section of Lightly Row, he gets another piece of picture. Don't do too many of the, so like maybe I know it's tempting to sit there and kind of just draw as he practices. I would maybe make it more objective, rather than go, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and draw. And I noticed I kind of looked over your shoulder, you're quite a good drawer, far better than I think I would ever be. But anyway, so as you're doing like one piece of the picture, and this is a great one that I like to do, is he's drawing, maybe don't tell him what it is. Like I know he likes castles and in the Disney kind of vibe, but maybe you can start drawing something that he doesn't know, and every time you give him a new piece of picture, and then he has to guess it. That way you get more mileage out of than just like say 5. You can go, okay, I'm going to draw you a piece of picture. So today's lesson would be, I'm going to draw you a piece of picture, but you have to do crescendos using Lightly Row, the second section of Lightly Row. You sing it for him so he knows what you're talking about. And then as he does them, you go, okay, here's another piece of picture. Okay, well, good, he did it again. Here's another piece of picture, and he has to guess what the picture is. Sort of like Pictionary. It actually really is Pictionary. So that's the way I would approach teaching him that right there. In Lightly Row, what you can do sometimes too is you can, some of the kids will have trouble with the number of times you hit. Grayson not so much, but it might just be kind of a good spot check, because the way they usually go, because there's a few notes here. Quick, how many was that, right? So what I like to do with that one is I have them say out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up, and that way they know and up is 2 different notes. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Can you do it with a crescendo? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Ooh, he can. Another piece of picture. So you draw another piece of picture there. Leah, I'm not sure if you're a good drawer or not, but maybe you can think of something like that too, like an incremental kind of, maybe put another block on a tower. Maybe you guys could be building something together. Maybe build like a tower or something with those blocks. I don't know. There's, you know what his favorite toys are. So, and then for the next part of it, do it same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. So I find that saying that as they play that part really helps them kind of keep it together in terms of how many times to hit each note. Because like I said, that's a spot where more than one kid has played more than the notes or fewer notes than required for that part. So I would practice that right there. Let's see here. Other thing I want to talk about too is Song of the Wind. That's that new one. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. There's like that one right there. I was trying to sing a May song. We'll probably start that one pretty soon. So for Song of the Wind, the part that's tripping him up right now is this right here. So we have the intro. As you know, flowers growing up, and that part right there, that's tricky, right? No matter which way you slice it. That part we're working last time on making sure he played the correct notes. Oops, a little buzz in there. So that's where I want you guys to focus on this week, is trying to get that E. And I should write down the colors that he uses. If you message me back and you let me know like what colors he has on the fretboard, I can write it out for you. But it'll sound like this. So it'll be 0, first finger, second string, pinky from our pinky push up, open E, and then to Rain Man on second string. So you'll play one at a time. So that spot right there. So make sure to listen to that this week. Make sure he listens to that a lot, because he's still missing I think it's the E in there. This one here. That one right there, he'll kind of glance on by. So maybe what you can do here, I'll write it all down for you, and send it to you, is that maybe play one at a time. So E, Pointer Man on second string, pinky, open E, and then B on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Have him play each one individually, and then put it all together. So one at a time, and then have him play it all together. Might be the way to approach that. There's a forte and a piano in there, but let's not worry about that quite yet. Let's make sure that he can play the notes correctly for that song, The Wind. I think part of it is too, sometimes he has a little, he's good in the fact that he'll want to play fast and that he kind of just plays through that really quickly. Have him play it really slow. Actually, that might be a good way to do it, is that he has a tendency to kind of like speed along if he's already knows the tune, he's like, oh, I'm bored of that, or I want something new. Maybe have him play it really slow. So maybe you can go on YouTube and slow that part down because there's a slow down feature on there. Or and have him play like each one like super slow motion and then play one normal. Another spot you want to work on too in that song is he'll have a tendency, Grayson, you're a pretty fast player, man. We need to slow down a little bit so some of your mortals can hear the melody. Is that to slow down? I think maybe what we should do this week is actually sing the melody more. So listen to it and sing it. He's got a great voice. He loves to sing. Maybe you guys can make up funny words for it too. That could be a good activity right there, making up silly words for Song of the Wind. So for this one here, since he did the Dalcroze class, and he was doing a little bit in here with me, have him march the song. So da 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 dee da 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 be dum ba dum bum chomp dee da ba dum bum chomp. So when I was studying this stuff, what my teacher used to have his students do was do the crocodile chomps. So you go E, C, G, E, D, and chomp. E, D, C, E, G, E, D, and chomp. Right? So maybe you guys can march the song this week. Da, 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 da. Because Dalcroze is a lot of that. I bet you can even tap some stuff too from the class. But anyway, so have him march through and so bum, 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 bum. You can do like a serious one. I would do a serious one and a silly one. So the first time through, you can be like, okay, let's do a silly one. You guys can run around the room singing it really fast. And then slow it down and make it really kind of how the song is. So bum 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 chomp bum 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 chomp. That way you're not always just playing the guitar all the time in the lesson. It's good to have the kids get up, especially at Grayson's age. Even though he's getting up there. I think he's 6 now, I think, right? And 5 or 6. And you can really him out there. So when you're practicing with him, always, sometimes put the guitar down and have him sing and kind of walk his melodies, kind of like what I was demonstrating there. That'll kind of get you away from like always just sitting there having every practice session the same. But at any rate, though, that's why I want you guys to talk about this, or what you guys want to work on this week in terms of his musicality. Like I said, these are big overarching themes. So don't feel that this is like something like, 1 week and then we're going to move on to the next. These are things I have students do for a long time. So Lightly Row, B section, Song of the Wind. Let's work on making sure we're not speeding through that tune and making sure we're hearing every single note clearly as possible, and some marching alligator chomps in there too. All right, if you all have any questions for me, feel free to shoot me a response back. I don't mind at all. And then please feel free to pick my brain on any of this stuff between now and next lesson. I'll send you out Tuesday tomorrow. So take care, guys. I'll see you. Bye-bye. Have a good trip.